St. Clair was one of the most influential writers of the early 20th century. He was a powerful force in the liberal movement in America. During the course of his life, he would write over 90 books. He was born in Baltimore, Maryland on September 20th, 1878. His alcoholic father moved the family to New York 10 years later to look for work. Although his family was very poor, his relatives were very wealthy. He would go from sleeping on vermin-infested couches in the projects to sleeping in silken sheets. Part of what shaped St. Clair's views on society was witnessing these two extremes. St. Clair did not receive formal schooling until age 10, but at age 14 he was accepted into New York City College. While in college, he was able to earn enough money to get himself through and support his family by writing short stories and filler jokes for the newspaper. He earned enough money that by age 17 he was able to afford his own apartment and enroll in Columbia University. In 1900, he married Meta H. Fuller and had a son, David. During this period of his life, he lived in poverty. His first novel, Springtime and Harvest, later titled King Midas, was published in 1901. It was the story of a poor couple, loosely based on his own unhappy marriage. The books that followed were Journal of Arthur Sterling, published in 1903, Prince Hagen, published in 1903, Manassas, published in 1904, and A Captain of Industry, published in 1906. All of these books did not do very well. During this time, St. Clair became more and more involved in the socialist movement. He joined with Jack London, Clarence Darrow, and Florence Kelley to form the Intercollegiate Socialist Society. The editor of the Socialist Journal, Appeal to Reason, commissioned St. Clair to write a novel about the plight of workers in the meatpacking industry. After several weeks of research, the result was one of St. Clair's most acclaimed novels, The Jungle. The Jungle tells the story of a young immigrant worker, Jurgis, as he changes from an idealistic worker to a desperate criminal and eventually a socialist through a series of unfair circumstances. The book also explains in detail the disgusting. The meat would be shoveled into carts, and the man who did the shoveling would not trouble to lift out a rat even if he saw one. There were things that went into the sausage in comparison with which a poisoned rat was a tidbit. There was no place for the men to wash their hands before they ate their dinner, so they made a practice of washing them in the water that was to be ladled into the sausages. There were the butt ends of smoked meat and the scraps of corned beef, and all the odds and ends of the waste of the plant. They would be dumped into old barrels in the cellar and left there. Under the system of rigid economy which the packers enforced, there were some jobs it only paid to do once in a long time, and among these was cleaning out of the waste barrels. Every spring they did it, and the barrels would be full of dirt and rust and old nails and stale water, and cartload after cartload of it would be taken up and dumped into the hoppers with the fresh meat and sent out into the public's breakfast. The book, although originally had to be self-published because no one would publish it, soon became a bestseller, selling over 150,000 copies. The Jungle caused such an uproar over the quality of the meat in the meat-packing industry that Teddy Roosevelt passed the Pure Food and Drugs Act in 1906 and the Meat Inspection Act in 1906. St. Clair used his new acclaim to run for Congress in the state of New Jersey on the socialist ticket. He was unsuccessful, winning only a handful of votes. He also tried to create his own socialist utopian society, Helclon Home Colony, with the book royalties in Englewood, New Jersey. The camp burned down after just 4 months. St. Clair blamed it on his political enemies. St. Clair then moved to a small town in New York with a large radical population. In 1911, he divorced his wife and remarried. During this time, he wrote several unsuccessful novels and left the Socialist Party because he believed that the United States should be involved in World War I, and that conflicted with the party's beliefs. He then moved to Pasadena, California, and rejoined the Socialist Party, recanting his beliefs about U.S. involvement in World War I. and ran for governor. He ran for governor of California on the socialist ticket in 1926 and again in 1934. He launched a campaign that won him tremendous support. His In Poverty in California, or EPIC, campaign made him a very popular candidate. He unfortunately did not win, but he lost by a very slim margin. Upton Sinclair would continue to write and publish through his life. Some of Upton Sinclair's most influential novels include King Cole, 1917, Oil, 1927, the Lanny Budd series, and Dragon's Teeth, 1942, which earned Sinclair a Pulitzer Prize in literature and was about the rise of Nazism. In 1953, he suddenly moved to Buckeye, Arizona. In 1961, his wife died of a stroke, and at the age of 83, he remarried for the third time. Upton Sinclair died November 20